Welcome to Bunnyfish Crafts. I'm your host Heather, known as Bunnyfish on Ravelry, Instagram, and YouTube. Today is Monday, the 20th of April, 2015, and this is episode 125, Runaway. Grab some sticks and string and come sit with me. So the main event of this past week was that on Saturday, it was a really nice day, sunny all day. We went to the aquarium first thing in the morning because the kids have been asking to go. And then we went to a park in Cincinnati, and that was fun. The kids were playing. I was knitting. A lady came over and asked about the knitting, and Gabriel called me to climb up something with him. So I glanced over, looked at Mara. She was fine. Steve continued talking to another parent, and I climbed up on the structure with Gabriel and then went down the slide. Took probably 40 seconds. I got down from the slide. Gabriel was like, okay, Mom, let's do it again. And I was like, wait, where's Mara? Looked around, didn't see her. Steve, where's Mara? She was just right next to you. I know. Like half a minute ago, she was right next to me. Where is she now? So we looked on the playground. She wasn't there. Looked on the swings. There's an area right behind the playground that's a pretty steep incline, but the kids like to climb up like 10 feet into the woodedness. They don't go very far, and it's usually bigger kids who do it, but like, well, maybe she's over there. And then I started freaking out because there was a walking path that went around a curve of the cliffy type thing, so I wouldn't have been able to see her. And then there was like the parking lot area. Not a parking lot area. There's not a parking lot. It's kind of like a roundabout street that you can park. There are a few parking spots, but mostly it's parallel parking on one side. I didn't see her, and Steve was like, well, maybe she walked across the street to the bathroom by herself. And I was like, okay, maybe. So I went up to the street and looked both ways, as you do, and I saw her like 300 feet away toward the actual main road, not the park throughway. She was walking with some lady who had a dog, and the lady with the dog was chatting, and they were walking back toward the park away from the road. And so, of course, I yelled her name and started running toward her because I was very near panic mode at that point. Like, I was still trying to be calm enough to be rational and think of all the places that she could be. But then I saw her and I was like, it was very scary. It was a very scary, like, 5 minutes because we were in a highly populated area, and, you know, she could have been anywhere. The park is not a small little playground. The park is huge. Like in the middle inner circle part of the throughway, there's a pond and several walkways and lots of little nooks where kids could be hidden for a little while. And if she had gone on that walkway around, there's a very long walking path, and it eventually takes you to a herbatorium or something. I can't remember. Arbitorium? That one. Arbitorium. So I was terrified. But we got her back and she was fine, and the lady was really nice. She said, oh, I just saw her walking, and she didn't have anyone with her, so I tried asking her where you were, but all she kept saying was she was going to the red truck to get her princesses, and I don't know what that means. And I was like, I know what that means. I thanked the lady, and then I explained to Mara that she can't just run off to wherever without saying something to me first, because it was really scary. But she's 4, so she doesn't really understand. And she's also at this age where she's testing boundaries a lot. Like, she likes to go outside in the front yard, even though she's not allowed to go in the front yard by herself. She's allowed in the backyard by herself because it's fenced in, but she's not allowed in the front yard because she will just wander off to neighbors' yards and things. So we're having a runaway situation with her. We have giveaways. The first one is up this week. So for Tiny Owl Knits Beekeeper's Quilt, there were 3 entries. So I did random number generator. it was 2 through 4, and the number that came up was post number 3, who is Allison Rose Boom. So Allison, get in touch with me, and I will get that shipped to you very soon. Pretty soon. I have to go to the faraway post office to do international, so it might take a little while, but it should get to you sometime during the mid-along, hopefully beginning-ish. And the second giveaway that will be closing next week is for LFK stitch markers, and you will be able to choose between these 2 sets. You will get one of them, and the prompt is to go to LFK, the store LFK stitch markers at storenv.com. Link is in the giveaway thread, and just say what your favorite set that's in the shop is, and I will draw for that next week. I finished the Boyfriend Socks by Alice Bell. This is what they look like. Upside down silly. So they are so pretty. The yarn is Croy Socks FX in Cascade colors. And this is the cable pattern. It's super, super easy to do. Very mindless, but not mindless. You do 3 repeats of pattern repeat 1 and then 3 repeats of pattern repeat 2. Yeah, so it's not charted, it's written. It's a free pattern. And actually, full disclosure, I followed the instructions for the toe kind of, except that I only went up to 64 stitches, and the smallest size is 72, so I changed what's going on the side of the leg, because I made the, I cut out stitches from the beginning and the end of the socks, of the repeat, so that it would just be ribbing on the side. And I don't know what type of heel was used in the pattern because I didn't look. I just did a Fish Lips Kiss heel because that is kind of my go-to heel right now, because it's really quick and simple, and by using just my hand I can measure a sock for a variety of people depending on what fingertip length I go to before I start the heel. And I also don't know what the top of the sock was, but I imagined it was just a 2x2 ribbing, so that's what I did. And the bind off that I used, I don't know what it's called. I don't. But it takes a setup round wherein you yarn over before knit stitches, but not before purl stitches. So it's not the surprisingly stretchy or anything like that. And it is quite stretchy, but not as frilly as the surprisingly stretchy bind off is. Sits a little more nicely. I haven't woven in the ends yet, because you know that takes me forever. That is the step that takes me the longest, is getting the motivation to weave in ends. And then I'm like, why didn't I do this for the first 20 seconds after I finished knitting? Because that's how long it takes to do 2 socks and weaving in. Silliness is what that is. Can you hear Mara playing with her princesses in the background? She's very, very, very excited for her princesses. I bought her these little princess dolls. They're Little People brand, and she's obsessed with them. Although I'm kind of nervous that she might be the high priestess in a cult of Disney princesses, because I found this the other day in my sink. I didn't get a chance to ask her what it was because I found it after she went to sleep, and she collected all of her princesses up before she woke me up the next morning. Or she woke me up by collecting them up, whatever, same thing. I also finished Beth's Little Star Afghan. So it is pretty big. It is not quite my wingspan. It's like fingertip to shoulder. And it hasn't been washed or anything, which, even though acrylic doesn't really block unless you kill it, which is setting the block using heat, it does kind of even out a little bit when you put it in the washing machine. So I have to still do that, but here it is. It is finished. I got all of the color repeats that I wanted, and this is what I have left of the skein of coffee. Not very much. And this is what I have left of the skein of robin egg. I'm considering using those to make a G's Great Owl. I might make that. I may not. We'll see how I feel after I finish recording this. The hook size that I used, it was a USG 6, which was 4.0 millimeters, and the pattern is by Beth Parsons. And I really like it. That's because I really, really, really like stars. Works in progress. I didn't start anything new this week, so what I have to show you is the second child tube sock. Didn't get very far in it, but you know, I started it. It's something, and it's not on my regular needle for this project. I'll tell you about that in a minute though. It's on US size 1 2.25 millimeter needles, and this yarn is from 716 Knit. It is 716 sock in the My Hormones Don't Rage colorway. It was the first installment of the Daria Club yarn last year. And yeah, it's kind of on pause for a moment because I really, really, really want to finish the Charybdis socks this month. And I only have 10 days to go, which is plenty of time to do socks. For me, it's plenty of time to do a pair of socks, like even from start to finish. So it shouldn't be a problem to finish these socks, right? I have separated them onto, well, I have the one sock on the needle that I had been working them on because I had been working them 2 at a time. And this is where I was on this sock last week. I hadn't put in the heel. So I put in the heel, I worked them both up to a place where I could start the pattern on the back of the leg, and then I separated them. So separated that one, and I am now working only on this one. This is where they were, this is how much I've done since I separated it. Not a ton of work, but a little. I'm not too disappointed because of how much I did on the blanket and the other socks, the ones that I finished, the stuff that I finished this week. Those were definitely my focus projects. So this is going to be my focus project. I'm going to start another project and continue to work on the My Hormones Don't Rage socks, but I would really, really, really like to be finished with this sock and very close to finished with the second sock by next podcast. The yarn is Science Monkey Mercantile Faraday sock in the Jovian Princess colorway, and the yarn is gorgeous. The pattern is very cool. I don't know. It's too easy. The pattern is too easy, but it's not easy like this sock is, where I can just go forever and not worry about it. It's like just a smidge more difficult than the My Hormones Don't Rage socks, but not difficult enough to keep me really engaged. Does that make sense? Am I being ridiculous? I might be being ridiculous, whatever. It is what it is. But that's the progress. I don't know, 1.5 inches on this sock and a heel plus, well, more than an inch. It's more like 3 inches because of the after the heel knitting. So 3 inches on one sock, a heel, and an inch on the other. 1.5 inches, whatever. There's nothing wrong with the pattern. The pattern is by Fiona Bennett, and it's lovely. If you're looking for something that's just a little bit different, that works up really nice with variegated yarns. It's got that really cool spiral texture, and they spiral in opposite directions. It's a really, really lovely pattern. It's just not what I'm feeling right now. I want more intense stuff like the cable-y socks, which are over here, which is why I keep looking over here, cable-y socks. I just want that sort of thing where it's a lot to do. It's okay, I'm going to start a new project, and it's also something that I want done by the end of the month, and it's color work, so that that will be the project that will keep me like on my toes a little bit. It should be easy. They're sport weight mittens. I actually made the pattern before. They're Totoro mittens. I made them for my sister and they split on the front to have fingerless mitts, but I just want mittens. I want mittens for driving in the wintertime. I don't need to be able to mess with my phone when I'm driving, so I can take them off when I need my phone, that sort of thing. And I'll be starting those sometime this week. I might start another project. I'm not sure yet. I still need to get in contact with Allegria, who won the steampunk knit along. She responded, and I'm going to be making something for her out of stash, but I have been bad at messaging back, so I need to get, she told me what she would be interested in, and I need to send her back options that fit within her interests. So I might start that this week too. I don't know yet. We'll see. I finished Barn Raising Square number 19, and it is super pretty. I hope the colors show up. No, that doesn't do it justice, but I didn't really expect it to. This is, I didn't write down the pattern, but several people have said they wanted to do the barn raising squares, but they couldn't justify buying the book right now. The pattern that I'm using, because I can't justify buying the book right now either for something that I only am really interested in this one pattern for, the pattern that I'm using is free for this. There is a barn raising baby blanket pattern linked on my project page, linked in the show notes. Barn raising baby blanket, and I just adjusted needle size to work with fingering weight yarn, and I stopped the stitch count when they got to be about 6 inches, the first one, and I just used a very similar stitch count for all of them. Obviously, if it's a little bit of a heavier weight yarn, I stop with a slightly smaller stitch count. And I haven't used lace yet, but if I did lace, I would use a higher stitch count at the end. It's worked from the center out. I use a magic ring cast on, and then I knit the second round with the tail pulled tight and just the yarn knit double, or held double to knit through the stitches so that the tail's not going anywhere, so I don't have to worry about weaving in that end at all, and that center is not opening, as you can see. It's still the same. But yeah, it's a free pattern. You just have to adjust needle size for your yarn. And this yarn is super lovely. It is Marigold Jen sock yarn, BFL 75 BFL, 25% nylon. It is a sample that Josh received at the ZK. The colorway is Black Magic. I can't remember if I said that because I'm so excited about the yarn that I'm just like, oh, the things. He received it at the ZK and then sent it to me because Josh doesn't really use mini skeins. I mean, he is now because he's making a Delancey cardigan using scraps, but previous to that, he's not really a scrappy user, so he sent it to me and I love it. And I have quite a bit left. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this skein yet. Not 100%. I have thoughts, but I'm not sure. Probably make a hexapuff and then figure it out from there. So yeah, square number 19. When I get up to 25 squares, I will lay them out again and put in a picture of all of them together. I have 6 hexapuffs this week. I really wanted to do 8. I had pulled out yarn for 8, but I only did 6. A slacker. No, really, I just was working on finishing those projects and we were out a lot because of the weather. It's supposed to be pretty rainy this week though, so probably won't be out quite as much, which I'm kind of looking forward to. Although right now it's super sunny. Like 20 minutes ago it was raining pretty hard, and it's supposed to do that on and off all day. So hexapuffs, let me show you. This is 2 strands of Madeline Tosh, it's lace weight. I don't remember what it's called. It's from Josh. He used it to make the Reese sweater. And those are his leftovers. This is yarn. I believe it's yarn from, I can't remember. It's from one of my VKN friends. It's either Becca or Haley. I can't remember which because some of the bags from my VKN friends got condensed instead of remaining separate for who gave what. This is yarn from that same bag. So can't remember which friend. Sorry, guys. But it's VKN love. I know that. So that's, hopefully they forgive me for not remembering exactly who gave me what because those skeins are from a very long time ago. And I used 3 of the mini skeins from Lindsay. This is Never Enough Time in Apple Picking. And the reason I have these mini skeins is because she finished knitting a project with this Never Enough Time in Apple Picking, and she put up a thread in her group asking to see what modular projects people were working on, and she would pull 5 winners and give them each mini skeins. So she sent this, which is lovely. I love that colorway. I have not worked with Never Enough Time in an actual project before, and I really, really, really like the dye quality of the quality of color, the dye job, whatever you want to say. I think it's really, really pretty on this Hexapuff. This is January Yarns Silver Lining. Beautiful color. Gorgeous gray. Love it. I would use this color for other things. Gorgeous. And then the final Hexapuff of the week is from CJ Knit. This is a sea glass colorway. So she sent the Never Enough Time skein, and then she also packed in a handful, maybe a little more than a handful of other yarns. I only have 2 skeins left from her that I haven't used yet, and I really thought I was going to get through 8 Hexapuffs, so I pulled those 2 out also to be worked on this past week, but I didn't get to it. So definitely this week I'm going to make it through the last of the Lindsay yarn because it's beautiful stuff, and I want you to see the yarns because they're gorgeous. I have some new things. The first 2 are patterns that I can't show you because I don't have my tablet. And I could show you on my phone, but my screen is all cracked and it's a small screen anyway. So they are both patterns that you can download for free for a finite period of time. The first is 5 Rings by Jana Huck, and it is a steampunk inspired bracelet, which Rose told me about this morning, and I immediately downloaded it. It's very cool, but it's only free through Tuesday the 21st, so probably when you're seeing this, it's not free anymore. I'm sorry, but I will put it in the enabler alert thread, so hopefully people will see it, and I will do my best to get this podcast up as quickly as possible so you can find out about that pattern. It's a very nice pattern. I haven't actually opened it yet, so I can't say actually that it's nice, but the project looks nice. Don't know about the pattern, the project looks nice, and it's free, so it's free for 2 days. I definitely see making that in the nearish future though. So if you miss it and you don't know, you don't hear that it's free, I will be telling you about the pattern soon-ish. And you can decide whether or not you want to pay for it. The other pattern is the Wispy Willow cardigan by Cheryl Beckenrick, and it is free for a while, but again, the link for the pattern with the coupon code and everything are in they're in the enabler alert thread by now. By the time this is up, they're in there. And it's just a cute little short sleeve or sleeveless cardigan. I don't remember. Let me look at the page. It's short sleeved and it is free through June 16th with a coupon code. But again, that's in the thread. So check it out. It's get lacy panels. It's very pretty. And even if you never make it, it's free, so you're not losing anything. The other thing is this lovely package that I got in the mail, and it has the inscription, "Enjoy your cakes." So it has to be amazing, right? I got 2 pieces of actual cake in the mail. Here's one. This is the one I have not devoured yet. I've been slowly eating this one. It's chocolate, orange, and raspberry. Amazing. The other one was Earl Grey and lemon, which I wasn't sure if I was going to like an Earl Grey cake because I don't enjoy Earl Grey tea, but the cake was phenomenal. And in addition, I also received lots of yarn. So I now have a sweater quantity of Knit Picks Full Circle. This colorway is denim, and this colorway is query, because the reason why I have this yarn is my friends are conning me into something that I will be working on probably next month. Well, no, definitely next month. It's officially on the roster for what's going on my blanket. If you don't know what that means, it means on Instagram you can follow, if you follow me, you will see several times a month a picture of a blanket with knitting, spinning, crocheting, whatever I'm working on that month, projects, and my goal is to finish them within the month. So you get to see all of the yarn and the works in progress that I'm bringing into the month at the beginning of the month, and then the last day of the month or the first day of the following month, there is an update photo. So the reason that I have this sweater quantity of yarn is because my friends are awesome. Lisa started making a Delancey cardigan for herself, and Haley started one ever ago. I don't know, several months ago. Started making a Delancey for herself, and then they were like, "Hey, Josh, we should make this a knit along." For Josh, knit along stakes have to be raised because Josh can't do anything at, normal. So the last knit along that he did with some friends was the Even Star, and he did it in a week. I don't know, 8 days. Something insanely fast for an Even Star. So Lisa decided, I think, that Josh should do a Delancey cardigan, but do a scrappy one using all of his leftovers, from different shawls and whatnot. So his main color is going to be black to dark gray to lighter gray, working from the bottom up. He's going to use leftover bits that he fingering weight held double. And then he has leftover skeins of colors, and that's what he's going to use for his stripes. So he joined in on the knit along. And then the next time I was in a VKN, when they were there and Lisa was working on her Delancey, she was like, "Heather, you should make a Delancey." And I was like, but I already have a Delancey. You can actually see my Delancey over the shoulder on my mannequin. That's my Delancey. I'll actually show it to you. Why not? This is the Delancey that Josh made for himself that didn't fit him in a way that he liked. So he gave it to me at the first ZK. So Lisa said, "You should make one." And I was like, "But I already have one." She was like, "Yes, but then you could know the joy that is knitting this sweater." Well, I didn't have any yarn in my stash for a sweater because I don't have a lot of worsted weight. I have one sweater lot of one color of worsted weight yarn, but I am saving that to make a knit swirl. I don't know which knit swirl, but I want to make one. And that's what that yarn is for. And I'm not messing with that. That is my plan. That's what I'm doing. Josh was also in the chat, and he was like, "Well, I have this sweater quantity that I don't want anymore." I was like, "What?" So he showed me these. This is going to be my main color. This is going to be my contrast color. And Haley gifted me the pattern. So I'm making a Delancey. Oh, I remember what I was saying. So on Instagram, I put those photos and there is the tag hashtag 2FOTM, which is to finish off this month. So if you want to go back and see what I've posted since for over a year, I think it's been over a year that I've been doing that tag. You can see what I've been trying to finish off each month. So this will be one of next month's projects. And he also sent yarn for a collaboration, and I don't know if I'm allowed to show you the yarn. I'm going to show it really quick, and if you want to look closer, you can pause and stuff, and then I'll ask later if it's a problem to show you the yarn. So this is the yarn for a collaboration that Josh and I are doing. It's not exciting. Those are my new things. I am reading City of Fallen Angels still this week. I don't know that I read very much at all this past week. Probably not. I don't recall reading a lot because I've been getting home and then immediately sleeping. There's a lot of sleeping this week. Oh, that's all I have for you this week, and I hope you made something fantastic with your sticks and string, and I will see you next week. Bye.